Yo, what's up, guys? How y'all doing? It's Josh back with another video. And today I want to just do a quick overview of certain things you should do when you set up your first, Linux server. And this will be kind of a basic video. I've done videos like this on the past. I got like shorter videos where I've covered a lot of this stuff, and I've also covered a lot of the things I'm gonna show you today in like its own separate video. But I never did it all together. You know what I'm saying? Just breaking down like everything you probably should do in order to secure your Linux server, when you first setting it up, and it's also connected to the internet. That's the important thing. If it's connected to the internet, you kind of want to, secure it, as best you can, especially depending on what you have installed on it or what you have running on it. For instance, like SSH. I recently did a video showing people how to set up SSH keys, you know what I'm saying, and install them on that server or whatever. But I just want to, I don't know, kind of go through and show everything in a live stream. So if you haven't seen those videos, you can kind of use this as a reference, to kind of help you set up your own personal server just to play around with, I don't know, in the cloud or whatever. So I seen someone said in the chat, Calvin, he said, um, the best way he heard to learn Linux is to install it in a virtual machine. That's 100% right. That's what I recommend people do. You install it on a virtual machine locally. That way, it's not in the cloud somewhere, and you haven't fully set up the server to where it can be protected. You know what I'm saying? Then you want to set it locally on your system, using VirtualBox, or if you already have Linux, you can use like boxes. I think that's another one, but VirtualBox can be installed on any operating system, so like Mac OS, Windows, as well as Linux. You can install it on the Linux operating system you may have on your laptop, and then you can install your servers from there, play around with them. You can even set it to where it has a bridge connection, where it has its own IP address. So whenever you spin it up, you can connect to it like it's its own separate computer. That's one cool thing about bridge connection. You can let it get its own IP address from your router, and then find out what that IP address is, and then you can connect to it and set it up. You know what I'm saying, via SSH, or if you're using Windows, you can use PuTTY. You know what I'm saying? And they'll allow you to connect via SSH to the terminal and run all your commands from there. Now, let me give a couple shout outs right fast. Shout out to everybody in the building. I see you. Shout out to you, Calvin Henderson. Again, Kelly Calico. Shout out to you. He says, I need to learn Linux. Or Lovely Angel Lady, shout out to you. Let me see who else is in the building. Shout out to all you guys, man. If you're in the clouds or whatever, just going on, hop in the chat, speak, you know what I'm saying? Say what's up, speak to everybody that's here, or speak to me, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. Shout out to you. But one thing I want you guys to do is hit that like button so I can get into the YouTube algorithm. You know what I'm saying? Try to get as many people in here as possible. Um, so you can learn Linux. And let's go on and start this thing off. What I typically do, or what I want to do, is install Ubuntu first. And let me actually show you guys what I'm doing. So let's check out my desktop right fast. Let's switch over and I'll show you guys my desktop. It's all good, whatever. So it's kind of small because I use a high resolution, but don't worry about it. This is not what I'm be using to show you guys installing Ubuntu as well as setting it up. I just wanted to show you that I'm using Proxmox. This is the virtual environment that I use in order to set up a lot of my VPNs. As you can see, I got whole bunch of VPNs set up on my network, and I already created one for today. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm gonna actually use. So I have everything set up, and just to kind of give you a summary, let's see, I gave it 2 cores or 2 CPU cores. I gave it like 8 gigs of memory, 32 gigabit hard drive. It's all virtual. And then your hardware, yeah, that's all your hardware that I kind of talked about already. But I attached the latest Ubuntu 22.04.1 live server ISO. And that's essentially the same thing as burning an ISO to a disk and putting it into your physical computer. You know what I'm saying? So I'm attaching that in the CD drive to this virtual machine. And that's the same thing you would do in VirtualBox. You know what I'm saying? I think I got VirtualBox still installed on here. I don't use it much anymore. But yeah, you can use VirtualBox, kind of do the exact same thing. I think I was trying to get Crystal installed a while back. But that's essentially Crystal. I know it's super small. You guys can't see it that well. But you can create you a new virtual machine, go through the process, on your local machine, set it up the exact same way, you know what I'm saying, that you would in Proxmox, and get your virtual machine up and going, and then you go through the install. So let's double click on my virtual machine, and what I'm gonna do is switch over so you guys can see the, let's see which one we're on right now. Let's go to Hermes, and then let's go here. That way I can show you guys the virtual machine a whole lot better. All right, cool. There we go. So we have the virtual machine. I'm going to kick it off. And you guys probably have seen a install of Ubuntu before, at least on my channel. But the first thing that'll pop up is basically a grub menu. You can go through, select the first one. I know that's kind of small, but basically what that's saying is try or install Ubuntu server. And then you also have an option to test the memory. So that's what the ISO will show you as soon as you boot up the operating system, or as soon as you boot up the server. And this thing will be a little small. I try to zoom in as much as I can so you guys can see what's going on, but it'll go right into the install. That's typically what happens with Ubuntu servers. They have it set up where it's a installer that pops up soon as you boot up the system. And so let me make this a little bit better right here. And while I'm doing this, let me shout out a couple more people that's coming through. I see you, Professor Black Ops in the building, man. What's up, bro? That's my dog right there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, PBO is putting out some great game over there. You know what I'm saying? And if you here, if you just got here, just go and hit the like button if you can, man. Yeah, appreciate it, Calvin, for sharing it on Twitter. I definitely appreciate it, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's I know when I'm talking about this type of stuff, it's not that many people that'll kind of come through. Now, since Professor Black Ops is here, let me kind of explain where I'm at with this, like Ubuntu, with these Ubuntu servers or whatever. I'm not an a Linux administrator. You know what I'm saying? I never managed Linux servers in a production environment for like a company or something. I have my own production environment, and so I have things set up, you know, like someone that's, I don't know, that's just setting this up at the house or whatever, or setting this up to learn, you know what I'm saying? And so that's the way I've always used Linux. You know what I'm saying? Never worked in a production environment. I'm not the expert on administrative, things that you should do, especially like with what PBO talks about, like with the stigs and changing configurations, and so it'll comply with whatever standards are set at the company. I don't do all that. I haven't done none of that before. Now I'm sure I could figure it out. I'm sure I could do it, but I just never done it in the way I show Teach Linux. Is just like a personal type of setup. You know what I'm saying? And you can use Linux, however you want to, because it's open source. You can use it however you want to. But I'm not, no Linux administrator or system engineer, that have managed multiple Linux servers and all that stuff. I don't see myself on that level, but I do understand a lot of Linux. You know what I'm saying? So I think I have some credentials. I don't know. You guys tell me. But let's run through this install right fast. So first thing, language. You know what I'm saying? And you can use the up down arrows. That's what it's saying right here. Use up, down, and enter keys to select whatever you're trying to select on this little menu. So we're going to use English because I'm in the US. Now, right here, this is, what is this again? So it basically says version 22.10.1 of the installer is now available. And right now it's currently using 22.07.2. And it really don't matter. You can continue without updating. That's the default that pops up. I don't know if you guys can see that at the bottom. Hold on, I might have to fix that. Let's go back over here and fix this. Cause with OBS, some of these pages are a little weird, and I know you guys probably can't see all of this. Let me raise this up right here, so you can at least see the menus, or at least see what's green. I know it's kind of hard to read that, but let's switch that over so you guys can see. All right, cool. And this is just a short part of it. Once we get through the install, I'm gonna connect to this server via SSH, and that way you guys can see everything I'm typing, pretty much everything that's going on, as far as setting up the server. This is just kind of like simple. I got videos on this. You guys can follow that or whatever. But let's go on and finish this. But it says continue without updating. Now it's identifying the keyboard. We're gonna roll with the default, so English, and then right here is the options. You could do two types of installations, and this is something they put in a while back. You could do a minimalized version of your Ubuntu server where it doesn't have anything. It has small runtime footprint, an environment where humans are not expected to log in, or you could do a full blown. It has their curated set of packages. That's the first option, and that's what we're gonna roll with. We're gonna roll with the full. Now it's going to pull an IP address because it needs it in order to download certain packages that it needs during the install. So let's hit done right here. If you have a proxy settings, then put that in there, but we don't have any of that. And then right here, it's going to ask you for the mirror. So if you want to use an alternative mirror, and essentially that's a repository that stores packages. That's essentially what that is. And some people want to change it so you'll have a closer repository. That way the download of the information is quicker. But let's hit done. Let's use the default. Now this is your layout of your disk, however you want to set it up. You use the guided disk, which is what we're going to use. I'm gonna just let it set it up however it wants to set it up, and essentially it's going to give it a home directory and all that stuff, break it all up, the root directory, all that to boot up the system, all that. It's going to set all that up for you, or configure the drive the right way. I think it's going to put it all in one thing. Now you can use, by default it has set up the disk using LVM groups. That's fine. And what LVM is, if you don't know, it's logical disk volumes. LVM, or yeah, logical volumes manager is what they call it, but it's a group. It's basically logical volumes on the disk. Let's see, encrypt, and then you can encrypt with Lux if you want to. I do that on my personal computers. Lux is basically the encryption that you can set up on your hard drive for, like, I typically do it for my home directory. Well, actually I do it for my whole system. So I have Lux, no, LVM on Lux is what I have. on my main system. And then you can do a custom storage layout. So let's hit done. And I know it's hard for you guys to see this, so that's why I'm just running through it. I did some videos showing people how to install Ubuntu, so it's not that difficult. But it breaks it out up at the top. Your mount points, you got your root mount point. It's like 14 gigabytes. You have a boot um, mount point, which is /boot. That's a partition as well. And then it goes through the available devices, so that's whatever drives that are on the system. And then also use devices. You can check out basically the summary of how everything is set up. Now let's go down here, done right there, and it's gonna go through and wipe that drive, configure it the way we specified, and then go through the install. And this is part of the install process right here, where it's going to ask you to set up your user accounts. And so what I'm going to do is set up a simple user account, which typically some servers, they don't even set up the user account whenever you're setting it up, especially like in a virtual machine online. It won't set up a user account. It'll just install the operating system for you, and then it'll have a root account. And typically what you want to do is go in and create a user account, because you never want to use that root account as the main account that you use while using the server. You know what I'm saying? And then also, let's see, the next thing right here is just setting up a server name. So I always do UBS, so Ubuntu server, and then whatever version it is. And I'm gonna put a 1 on the end of it because I got another server on my network with Ubuntu or UBS 22. So I just put a 1 on the end of it. And then let's go down and create our username and our password. So you type in your password for your user account. And all I'm doing is hitting tab to go to the next thing. I hit done. Now, this is one thing you definitely want to do: install OpenSSH. If you're installing this on, manually on a cloud server, you want to make sure you install SSH. That's the only way you're gonna be able to get into it, remotely, unless you have access to the cloud platform and they have the Lish or one of those connectors like consoles that you can connect to. But yeah, install OpenSSH server, and then let's go down here, done. And then with Ubuntu nowadays, they have certain software you can install on the system, as you go, through the installer. You can tell it what you want. You can have this thing set up as a Nextcloud server. Automatically, it'll have Nextcloud on there for you. And some of these other servers, Rocket Chat server, if you want to set one of those up, Mosquito, AWS client, so it'll put that AWS client on there, as well as the Google Cloud client or SDK. You can connect to your Google Cloud servers and all that stuff. What else we got here? Docker is there, so you can have Docker installed. We're not gonna install anything. I'm gonna just go down here, done. And as you can see, it was still going through the install, in the background while we were making those changes. And it was kind of waiting until we made changes as well for whatever we was trying to do with the system, or whatever other applications we wanted to install on the system. Now, you can check out the full log if you want to down here at the bottom. But down here at the bottom, I don't know if you see where it turns gray at the bottom. Right above that, it's going to say installation is complete. So once that finishes, then we'll boot up the server. I'll connect to it via SSH, and then we'll go through the process of kind of securing this server. So let's go back to the chat while this thing is going, and give a couple people shout outs, anybody that's coming through. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's good to see all you guys in the building. You know what I'm saying? I starting to see a lot more people come through, so I definitely appreciate it. Let's see, Professor Black Ops, he says we're all learning. I'm on the AWS grind. Yeah, I know you're on that AWS grind, dog. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to see the next videos you put out. I'm gonna definitely try to share them, you know what I'm saying, with anybody that's interested in learning AWS, because you be putting it down over there, Professor Black Ops. Definitely agree, bro. Let's see, Linux is high level view, is an open source operating system. structure that anyone can compile themselves. Yes, that's true, Calvin. Yep, definitely. Um, Calico, he said, so any version of Ubuntu is good. Yeah, yeah, any version. You can use um the ones that are supported. I recommend you use because that means they're still putting out security updates for the operating system that you're using. So if it's Ubuntu, I don't know, 12, it hasn't been updated in years. It's kind of like when you know, what's the name of it? Windows XP. They came out what last year or the year before that. They stopped supporting it. I mean, they're not putting out any more security updates. You can still use the operating system all you want, but any new like bugs or that are found or any new malware that takes advantage of security flaws in the operating system, they're not gonna patch it anymore. You see what I'm saying? So your system will be vulnerable. And I see Ray uh Hammer. Good to see you, man. You know what I'm saying? He says, peace, brother KLT. Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing this video really because someone asked me in the comments, they was like, hey, how do you secure, can you do a video showing people how to fully secure, you know, my server after I get it set up? Yeah. And so that's why I came through and did that. JM, he says, is that like BitLocker? The encryption, yeah, I think so. I really never looked into BitLocker and how it actually works. I know it's kind of weird, bro. Like, um, I've seen people. Well, I remember when BitLocker first came around. It was like I think that was in Windows 2000, Windows 7, and this was when I was in the military. And I don't understand how they control all that. But I believe that yeah, the hard drive is encrypted via the BitLocker key. That's why it's like super long or whatever. And I think it's similar. I'm not 100% sure because I never looked into how BitLocker works. I don't even know what it's for. I know it's for encryption, but I don't really know how they actually use it. You know what I'm saying, or how it's actually used. What it actually encrypts. I don't know if it's just encrypting the operating system or if it's encrypting the data. Yeah, it's. I just never looked into it, so I don't know much about it. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. That's essentially what I'm getting at. But yeah, that's what Lux is for. If that is what BitLocker is doing, it's encrypting the full drive or encrypting whatever. But essentially you can set up the passphrase to whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? Where BitLocker, I think those BitLocker keys are generated somewhere. I don't know. And then to me, it's weird because with Windows, it only pops up with the encryption key, or where you have to put in a BitLocker key only in certain occasions. That's what's different from Lux. Lux, you have to decrypt your hard drive every single time. So let's say someone steals your computer, um, they can't get it if it's turned off. They can't get into the hard drive. They could take the hard drive out, it's still got that encryption key on it, it's still encrypted. You know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people use it for, just to make sure, the hard drive is secure, especially if you have something on it very important. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I see you, Aquateki says, make sure you back up your BitLocker key. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't I like soon as I get a system, I wipe all Windows off of it. Any new laptop I get, I wipe it. I wipe Windows. So I don't know all the intricacies of Windows, other than like Windows servers, which I don't really see the BitLocker key stuff over there either, that much, for work. So I've never had to really deal with it except for like some systems I was troubleshooting when I was doing tech support for something, um, at like a unit or something. I was trying to fix some computers that we had there. They wouldn't boot up because of the BitLocker. We had to, and the weird part about it, man, you gotta like, how is this tracked? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you gotta get him a key, and then they give you the response or the passphrase based on the key that you give. So I don't know, bro. I don't know how this. I don't know how it worked, bro. And maybe that's because of my experience was with the military, and I never really seen the other side of it or how they actually set it up. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably why I'm lost on it. But yeah, Lux, it locks your computer. All you have to do is type in that passphrase, and so you have like two logins anytime you set up Lux on your system. You have a login or a passphrase that you have to put in to unlock the hard drive, and that'll stop the computer from even booting up. You know what I'm saying? So if you get that passphrase wrong, it won't even unlock the hard drive so you can boot up the system. You know what I'm saying? Because everything is encrypted, and then you have to log into the system at that point. You know what I'm saying, to actually have access to everything on the system. So yeah. And Professor Black Guy said Fed Life Encryption. Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. I don't want to miss nobody. I seen somebody said something else. Let's see. You can use Ubuntu, Red Hat, SUSE, OpenSUSE, Rocky, Debian, and even FreeBSD. And I'm assuming he's talking to Calico. Yeah, definitely. You can use all those different. I just choose to use Ubuntu. It's the easiest to me. I've been using it since for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of the first distributions I was introduced to when I first learned Linux. And so I use it, for demonstration purposes, and for anybody that's interested in learning Linux, I always recommend Ubuntu because that's how I started. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Windows 7, they stopped the updates for last year. Windows XP was stopped about 5 years ago. I think it was. I thought it was recently. I mean, not recent. Obviously, it's been over a year, but when did they stop the support? You got me want to go look it up. When did they stop support for Windows XP? I thought it was recently, bro. Like a couple years ago. I mean, not a couple years ago, but it was like not that long ago. I'd say like 2 years ago, maybe. Let's see. When did they stop? Because they've been providing support for a long time for XP. Because there was a lot of people out there still using XP. That was like one of the longest running ones. Let me see. When was it? When did they stop it? Microsoft provided support for XP for the past 12 years, but the time has come for us to. Where's the date? Where's the date? Now you got me trying to figure it out. Let me see. When did they stop that damn support? Oh, so it has been like 5 years. Okay, I didn't know it was that. Hey, time go by so quick, bro. That must have been Windows 7 I was thinking about. But yeah, XP. Yeah, you're right. Okay. But they had it for they was supporting for a very long time, bro. Um, Based on what I remember, they supported that because that was the most successful version of Windows that they had. You know what I'm saying? Okay, 2016 from what I'm seeing. So that was 7 I was thinking about. So 7 got. I remember they discontinued that. And hold on, mainstream support for XP was 2009. But then extended support ended April 2014. 2014. Oh, man, I'm all over the place with it. So that must have been Windows 7 I was thinking about. But I know they did 7 for a while. Let's see, Windows 7 and support date. Okay, yeah, that was 2 years ago. That's what I was thinking about. I was confused now. So don't laugh at me, man. You're right though. But that was Windows 7 that happened. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place, bro. 8 years, yeah. I see you now. Checking for the date. Yeah, Calvin. Yeah, sorry about that, man. I was thinking about Windows 7. So that was 2 years ago, Windows 7. Yeah, KeepItTechie, definitely make sure you back up that BitLocker key. Oh, and this install is complete. So let's switch back over to it. Boom. I don't wanna, but like I said, it'll pop up with two little options. It'll say installation complete, or it typically says it over there. But all you have to do is hit reboot now. That'll reboot the system, come back up, and I connect to it via um via I show another screen where I'm connected via SSH. First, I gotta figure out what the IP address is. So I'm gonna log into it again, figure out what the IP address is, and that's one thing you want to do. If you're using a cloud platform, it'll have the IP address, right there in the console, and you can see it. But since I'm using like a local machine, then I gotta figure out what that IP address is. All right, cool. So I'm gonna let it boot up, and then I'm gonna grab that IP address. And I'll show you guys the command for that, which I'm sure you know that. Yeah, back to Ubuntu, bro. Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. And shout out to Maddox, man. I'm sorry, I didn't say your name, bro. Shout out to you, bro. That's my homie over there, man, as well. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Um, all right, so oh yeah, I keep forgetting Ubuntu behind. I mean, not Ubuntu. Um, the streaming software is behind. But anyway, here we go. So all we got to do is log in with that account we created doing the install. Boom. And then really what you want to do, the first step really for anything is to update the system. But first thing I want to do is find out what the IP address is. So I'm going to type a command. It's IPA, just so you know. The IP command is built into the operating system. It basically took the place of if config. You can still use if config, and that'll give you the IP address as well. Oh, maybe they took it out. Yeah, they took it out. So it's included in um, a group of tools called net tools. You can install if config and put it back on here, but the new one that replaced if config is IP. You can do whatever you want with it. It's a whole lot more intuitive. You can uh create more IP addresses. It's simpler to use, let me say that. And you can do a lot more with it. You could change the routes, you can set the routes. I think I did a video showing people the in-depths or how to use the IP command in depth. Now, so we found out what our IP address is, and it is 141 like I thought. So let's open up another terminal, go on and connect to it. So let me switch over, because like I said, this is a whole lot easier for you guys to see. And yeah, let's use that terminal. I just close this one out. Boom. And let me find that terminal I had open. I was connected to something over there. Oh yeah, my VPN. I use ExpressVPN, so you guys can whatever see that. So SSH 192.168.10.141. Press enter. It's gonna, give us a fingerprint. Say yes, import it. Boom. Type in our password, and boom, we are good to go. So we logged into that server now. That's in that virtual machine, and let's go down and update the system. As you can see, it's got 43 updates. That's one of the first security steps you want to do, because they may have put out some security updates that you need for the system. So sudo apps updates, and then I always put them in tandem. So sudo apps upgrade, put them together, and that ampersand means that it's gonna run the commands kind of in tandem. Like once it successfully runs the first one, which is the update command, which is gonna refresh the repositories and all that stuff, it's gonna go through and do the upgrade of all the packages that are available for the system. So let's go on and type in our sudo password, and I typically put -y on there, but we can just hit it. But what the -y does, when you put that at the end of the command, whenever you're running the update command, you see how it stops right here, and you have to type Y and enter, or you can hit enter, either way. Well, that'll bypass that and go through go through and just quickly install all the applications. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about that responding to that. You'll respond to it from the command, if you see what I'm saying. All right, cool. So Let me go back to the chat while this is going through. Let's see what you guys talking about. He says Calvin Rich said Calvin. I keep wanting to call you Calvin Richardson. I got a homie named Calvin Richardson. Calvin Henderson says I need to ride out. I will catch back up with yeah. Hey, shout out to you for coming through, bro. I definitely appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? Peace out, man. Have a good one. You know. And since you were, hopefully you ain't left yet, but since you were definitely contributing in the comments, bro, and everything, I'm gonna make you a moderator. So when you come back, you're a moderator, bro. Okay. Um, let's see, what's a good Linux certification site? Oh yeah. While we waiting on these updates, I could talk about that as well. Let's open up. Let's see. Let's go back over here and open up uh, some of the places I look at. And I'll bring up some certifications. And actually, this is the next one I'm looking at. And you guys just missed it. I believe they had some. Uh, what do you call it? They had some discounts going, recently, and it was too late for me to put it up. You know what I'm saying? But looks like they got some new discounts, so I need to put this one up. Definitely put this one up. Hold on. This one is popping right now. So hold on. Let's switch over to my website. But yeah, Linux Foundation. This is where you can go to get some great Linux certifications. And right now they have 40% off boot camps and bundles. So you can go in here, hit learn more. This is some of the places you can go to get certs. So Cloud Engineer Bootcamp. This is A, and I know it's kind of expensive. They got a discount though. You can get 700. You can get this one for $720. Learn most of the in-demand cloud computing skills and your LFCS, which is the Linux Foundation System Certified System Administrator, and the CKA certification. I haven't looked into that one, but it says in little as 6 months. So hey, it's called investing into your career. Now this one looks is cheaper. DevOps bootcamp. So they got a DevOps. You get the DevOps certification and GitOps certification, I believe. And then they got some other bundles right here. Like you can get the IT associate, the Linux Foundation IT Associate, as well as a Certified System Administrator for $630. Now, I know this place is expensive, bro, but these certs are recognized in the industry as great certs to get because it's performance based. Now, these tests are a little tougher, but they are great certs to actually get if you want to become a Linux administrator. So that's something you definitely want to look into. And then the one I always talk about that I do have, which I have, CompTIA Linux Plus certification. So check that out as well. They got training for it and everything, for that cert. So let's go back to it. Yeah, here we go. Infrastructure certification. So Linux Plus, they're currently on 005, which I've been talking about it. But I've been trying not to talk about it that much, but I have a course coming out for this because every time I bring it up, people are like, "Hey, what's taking so long with it, man?" Hey, this stuff is hard. I'm not a teacher. I've never been a teacher before. Putting together curriculum and all the stuff that goes with it, and I wanted to, be successful. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be successful as far as the course where it actually helps a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to be the best as possible as I can, And like I said, I'm learning this stuff as I go as far as putting together courses to help teach people. I did that introduction to Linux course, which is on my channel. So if you guys are interested in that, if you never heard that I did that, but I do have a introduction to Linux course on my channel. It's also on Free Code Camp. So if you want to watch it there as well, the one on Free Code Camp got like 600,000 views on It's crazy. I wish my channel had them views for the course, but I think it got like 4,000 on my channel right now. But one cool thing about it over here on my channel, I have it broken out into sections. So you can go to the playlist and you can play it in sections. It's broken up. And I also have the full course as well, similar to what's on Free Code Camp's channel as well. Man, but they got like almost 600,000 views, like and like a whole bunch of likes on it. So I know I did a pretty decent job with the course. A lot of people are learning from it, and that was the whole plan. That was the whole goal. You know what I'm saying? To try to put something out to help as many people as I can as possible. That's why I allowed them to take it. Once they contacted me, I allowed them to take it and put it up there. You know what I'm saying? Because I just wanted to get it out there, to as many people as possible, so people people can benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole plan. I mean, yeah, I would like to get a little compensation for it, but whatever, bro. I mean, the compensation for me, at least right now, is that people are getting something out of the actual training that I put out, and so that makes me feel good. If that makes sense. But yeah, check out CompTIA Linux Plus exam. And then also, if you want to go crazy with it, let's go to Red Hat's. Uh, and they do have certifications over there. And these are essentially the industry standards certification. If you want to get into becoming a Linux administrator, then this is where you want to go. Let's see, services and support. Let's see where it is. And I don't even come look at the certs. Here we go, all certifications. I don't even come look over here because I'm not interested. And that's the thing. You gotta figure out if you're interested in becoming a Linux administrator, or if you want to learn Linux to benefit your other careers like cloud, working with the cloud, because Linux is there. You need to understand it to get into that over there as well. If you don't want to be a Linux administrator, then I would recommend going down this route. It's no need to get these horde certs that you're really not going to use if you're not planning on being a, you know, Linux administrator where you're managing a whole bunch of Linux servers, security and all that stuff for those servers. Um, but if you're just planning on, like I said, just getting in the cloud, then my course will work, or like Linux Plus will work. You don't have to get these highly specialized certifications over here at Red Hat. But if you do want to go that route, then definitely this is where you want to go, as well as the Linux Foundation. And like I was saying with the Linux Foundation, this is performance based. I know it has some performance questions over here based on the last time I looked at it, but this is 100% performance based over here on Linux Foundation for like the certified systems administrator one, and the, I think it's an engineering one. They're performance based. They give you kind of like what we doing right now with the setting up this server right here. And speaking of that, the updates, they're asking me, something on the updates. So let's press OK right there. It's basically done with the updates. But what we're doing right here is what you got to do for that certification in order to pass. And they're gonna check, the logs. They're gonna check to see what commands you ran and all that stuff on the system that they give you to set up, via the questions. So all these questions that they give you, it's all scenario based. They say, hey, we need you to create user accounts. We need you to give these accounts permissions for X, Y, and Z. Or we need you to search these logs and grep out specific information and extract it to another file, and then put that file in whatever location with this name. You know what I'm saying? Or we need you to make these changes to a configuration for a specific application that's running on here, or troubleshoot this application. It's That's why I say it's performance based. It ain't no A B C D. It's on if you complete the task or not. And so those tasks are difficult to, not difficult, but they're and that's the thing. They don't care how you accomplish it. Because with Linux, you can accomplish tasks, many different ways. If you didn't know that. Well, um, they don't care how you do it. They only care that you accomplish the task. And it's only a certain ways to accomplish the task, but you got multiple ways to accomplish it. They don't care which one you use, as long as you get it done. You know what I'm saying? So, um, that's all I'm gonna say about that though. Yeah, check out those. You know what I'm saying? Calico, I'm glad you asked that question. And hey, that remind me of them guns back in the day with the Calicos. Shout out to you though. Shout out to you for that question. You know what I'm saying? I definitely appreciate it. Do you recommend EC console search, bro? I don't even know what EC console search are. So I'm gonna have to look that up, JM. Let me check that out. Let me check that out right fast. I love these questions because it make me look into stuff that I need to look into as well. EC console. So here we go. Let's switch over to so you guys can see what I'm looking at. But I'm on the website for EC console. Oh, I think somebody was telling me about this. These are these cybersecurity certifications? Yeah, you talking about CEH? Yeah, CEH. I kind of heard some not so good things about CEH. I know it's difficult to actually get in and take that CEH cert. Because you have to have like a certain amount of experience in the field. You know what I'm saying? To actually apply to take the certification. Like right here, certification toward your audience. The certified ethical hacker certification will fortify your application knowledge of security officer, auditing, and security professional, site administration, anyone who is concerned about the integrity of the network infrastructure. For information, boom, boom, boom. This is the exam, the current exam. It's a 4-hour test, 125 questions. Not that bad, you know what I'm saying? Not that bad, but here we go. This is what I was talking about right here. You have to have a minimum of 2-year work experience in the infosec domain. And then up here it says hold a CEH version 1 or 7. Yeah, that's one of the things. But yeah, you have to have a minimum of 2 years of work experience in the infosec domain. Or also you have to attend the official EC Council training. So you have to go to that. Their training. So that'll work. You know what I'm saying? You could do that if you don't have a way to get the work experience. But I remember that was the hardest part for people that were trying to take the CEH. They had to have that experience. Now you can get someone. I mean, it and I don't know. They real fickle about it, from what I heard. You know what I'm saying? And then you have to put in a non-refundable application fee. You know what I'm saying? So if whatever you put in doesn't meet their requirements, then you lose out on that $100. And I don't know, people. I wouldn't want to be wasting $100, you know what I'm saying, trying to apply to take an exam so they can go through and they have to approve you for it. And so I heard some not so good things about that certification, you know what I'm saying, but whatever, you know what I'm saying. You can look into it. I heard it's decent. It's a decent exam. I was looking at actually taking it at one point, but changed my mind on it once I figured out everything, about it or the requirements. I wasn't working in no cybersecurity or infosec domain like they wanted, so I just threw it to the side, you know what I'm saying, and got security plus. So I know CEH, goes in a little bit more in depth on cybersecurity, but check this out. This is starting to become recognized as well. And by these questions, y'all taking me down different rabbit holes. I got to go back to the Ubuntu install. But nah, check this out. What was I looking for? What's the name of it? Oh, let me just look up Kali Linux. I can't remember the name of the platform or whatever that the main company. What's the name of the company? Let's see. Let me see if you guys know in the chat. But what's the main company that puts out Kali? Um, hmm. Let me look back over here on the screen and see if somebody say it in the chat. I can't remember the name of it, but it's because they do have training out there. but they are starting to give certifications. Let's see. What's the name of the company? Hold on. Oh, let me go back over. And that's the thing. I ain't went back to the chat. Um, yeah, nobody said it. Let me try to find it again. Let's see. What's the name of the the company? Uh, Offensive security. Offensive security. I'm surprised I didn't know that. Well, actually, hold on. Let's go to Kali Linux overview. Let's see. Backtrack. And I remember Backtrack when it first came out. That was the name of it before. But yeah, InfoSec security. Let me just look up offensive security. I'm sorry. Um, offensive security. Boom. They're starting to give certs. So offensive dash security, they're the people that put out Kali. So they got the Pen Test 200, penetration testing course and certification, OSCP certification course. Hey, this is where you go to get those certifications, bro. That if you're trying to get in that cybersecurity route, you know what I'm saying? Definitely want to come over here, bro. Cloud security, they got a cloud fundamentals, security operations, so SOC, exploit development proof. They got a whole bunch of certs, man. Whole bunch of training. They even got web apps, certifications, penetration testing. So SCEH all day right there, penetration testing. But you can come here, you know what I'm saying? And then they got discounted programs. Let's see what we got here. So 20% off, 10% off. You definitely want to look at some of this stuff. Look at for what's being discounted and buy it. Then a lot of times when you buy it, you have like a year to use it. So, or a year to sign up for the course or something to that effect. I know that's one thing they did with the Linux Foundation. Yeah, they got a deal right now, and that's what I did because I actually took the security or the Linux Foundation certification. I failed it. I didn't pass it. I haven't went back and took it again because I got a good discounted price for it. I failed it, and what I did was I waited too long to start studying for it, and I failed it. I failed the hell out of that certification, man. And then I only had like 2 weeks to take the retry. So I took it in 2 weeks and I got a better score. I need to log in and see what those scores were, but I was like right there at passing. I got like 70 something percent of it all right. I think it's like 75 you have to get. I had like, I don't know, like 74 or something like that. Whatever it was like right there. I could have passed if I would have been able to complete some of the other tasks that I couldn't figure out how to do, because that's the thing. It's with Linux, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times when I'm learning something or I'm doing something, sometimes I have to look it up. You know what I'm saying? You can't use Google. You can't use anything other than the man pages that are on the operating system. And so if you don't remember the the options you could use with particular commands, then you'll probably be a little screwed, because you have to go into the man pages, read up what that option is to try to see if that will work or apply with whatever you're trying to complete for them. If you can't figure out which option to use, that'll throw you off. And then let's say you're using a totally wrong command, you know what I'm saying? That'll throw you off. If you're not using it, it might be a better command that will do this a whole lot easier that you can't think of on the spot. You know what I'm saying? And it's timed, and you got to come, and you can jump around all day, but and then and that's the crazy part about it. Some of the commands I figured out in later questions or later tasks, they helped me figure out stuff that I skipped. So that's one thing about it, kind of skip around a little bit and go back, and then that'll make you think of commands that you should have used in another question that they asked or a task they asked, um, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? That I don't know. That was one cool thing about it. You can learn that. I mean, you can get or figure some of it out that way. But anyway, how much does the course cost in total? What course are you talking about, man? Dead Set Anime. I'm not sure what course you're talking about. Which one? Just let me know which one, bro. I just don't remember because I done talked about so many. I don't know, bro. It says you can also take it if you're enrolled in school. Yeah, yeah, that's true, JM. Yep, you can take CH if you're enrolled in some form of training that's associated with that uh, infosec domain. You need to get these people to come to your channel, Professor. What you mean, Professor Black Eyes? What you talking about? You talking about let me know what you talking about. um yeah, and Super 79, I just seen you in the building, bro. He says, Peace Techie, it's been a while. Yeah, it's all good, bro. Good to see you, man. Tay, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. That's the little homie right there, man. Shout out to you, bro. Not little homie. I don't wanna try to sun nobody. But yeah, shout out to you, Tay, man. Salute to you, bro. I'm glad you came through. He says David Washington says using Tmux with 2 panels is a must for me. Yeah, yeah. I use Tmux too. I actually liked at one point I actually liked what's the other one? The one with the red terminals. I can't remember the name of it, but I use that one a lot as well. And then Screen. I use Screen a lot when I'm doing certain things, like if I'm running scripts and stuff like that and all that. Let's see, Brother Will, he says OpenShift, good idea for Kubernetes beginners. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I gotta actually look into OpenShift. I know a little bit about it, but not that much, man. Definitely appreciate it. Forgot that I was watching on a 5-minute delay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know what you. Yeah, Terminator. Thank you, David Washington. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about with the red Terminator. Yeah, I use Terminator a lot when it. Man, and I'm totally forgetting about setting up the damn server. So let's get back over there right fast. But hey, ask those questions, or whatever you were saying. Or please respond, so I can know what you're talking about. But yeah, Terminator is definitely the terminal that I use. I used to use at least on the desktop edition, because you can only use that on desktop edition, not the server. Um, so what was I planning on doing? Oh, mainly what I typically do. One of the first things I do is turn on the firewall, set up and turn on the firewall. And like I've done this in multiple videos, just showing people, hey, this is something you want to do right away, right off. But you can use UFW, which is built into the operating system. It basically sits on top of IP tables. That's one thing you want to turn on as soon as you get one of these servers up and running in the cloud or on your virtual machine, is getting UFW enabled and set up. Now, before you set it up, you want to open up ports first. So let me see. Let me just test it or see what it is. So, or see if it's enabled I mean, I know it's not enabled, but let's see if it's installed. But sudo system ctl, and then let's check out ufw.service or UFW. Let's just run UFW and see what pops up. And actually, I totally forgot about that. I gotta put status, status, UFW. Type in our password right fast. Boom. As you can see, it's stored it, but it's not turned on. Now I think the command is sudo UFW status. That'll give us the status of the actual application. And as you can see, it's inactive. And what you want to do is enable SSH for sure. So sudo UFW allow open SSH and press enter. Boom. So to add that rule, it'll add it for both the IP version 4 and IP version 6. So it opens up those ports. And then we could check out, well, we can't check out the status because it's not going to show us anything, but that status command actually shows you the ports that are open on the system. So we got SSH open, but let's say Apache. We're going to set this up as a web server where you want to obviously open up the ports for Apache. Now, you want to go through and install it first before you open up the ports. You know what I'm saying? Just go down and install it. go through the installation, and then you can enable Apache. And I think it's a list out there. I can't remember what is it list? Let's see what it is. App. Is it apps? I don't know. I think it's apps. Yeah, well, no. App list. App list. So app list, boom. No, that'll show you the ones, but it's profiles out there. I guess that's because that's the only application we have. Yeah, that's the only application we have available. That's why. Now, once we install Apache, it'll say that it has another application on there, and you can use those app names to open up the ports for it. Or you can just go in if you know what ports you're gonna use. Obviously, allow 80. And then I think you can do more than one. I think it's a comma, and then you do 443 for your secure port. So if you got a cert on the server, I think you put a comma there, or maybe a space. I'm not sure. I don't want to do it and mess it up. Well, fuck, let's do it. Screw it. Let's do it. I just want to see what it'll do. So sudo UFW, and then let's open up port 80. Boom. And then let's see, I can't remember, it's comma 443. You can open up both of them ports, I think. Nah, let's see, TCP. All right, well, if you can't do both at the same time, you can do one at a time, and then that'll work as well. I can't remember if I thought you could, but maybe not. So let's go on and enable it, since we got our open SSH open, so which we're connected via port 22, right now. Using the terminal. So let's go sudo UFW and then enable, and it's going to give us a warning. That's why I said you got to make sure you open up your SSH port first, because it's going to give you a warning as well. It's basically saying that it could disrupt your existing SSH connection, which is fine because we have that port in it. But if you don't have that port open, then you ain't gonna be able to connect back to the server via that port, because the firewall is gonna block you, because that port is closed at that point. That's why you got to open it up before you enable it. So let's hit yes, boom. So as you see, firewall is active and enabled at system startup. So whenever you reboot the server, the firewall will be inactive and enabled on the system. So anytime you reboot, it'll pop up and the firewall is on now currently. So boom, let's check that status right fast. So let's go sudo UFW and then status. Boom. And this will show us all the ports that are open. So we got port 80, port 443. We got open SSH. That's allowed from anywhere. And you can modify this if you want to, depending on how you want to. You can create access control lists but that's dealing with SSH. You can where only people from X IP address can access this port. You know what I'm saying? Try to make it a little bit more secure. And then also fail to ban. That's another option in order to make it a little bit more secure, which I'm not going to really show. I do have that installed, or I do have a video showing you how to install it. But that's something for pretty much all the applications that you have installed. So if you have MySQL Server set up on here, then fail to ban or block that. You know what I'm saying? It'll protect that as well. So it don't only just protect SSH. It connects or protects a whole bunch of other applications, Apache, all that. So you use fail to ban. Hold on. Do you ever use port 23? No, I don't. I always use port 22. Or if I want to use a non-standard port, I use port 222. 422s. Port 23 is for something else. So it's for another application. I can't remember what it is. Is it FTP or SCP or what is port 23 for? Or is that a SSH port? I can't remember. Telnet. 23 is Telnet. So if you're using Telnet, then yeah, that's what that port is for. Port 23 is a TCP port traditionally assigned to Telnet daemon. So yeah, port 23. let's see. Yeah, so I typically, just like what Maddox said, 22 and 2222 for, or you could set it up whatever you want, but make sure it's outside of default ports. Um something, you could do whatever you want with the port. You could put whatever port you want on there, but that's dealing with the configuration of SSH, and I can show you guys that right now if you want to check that out. But you can use a non-standard port. Let me go in here right fast. So sudo nano, um, and then etc, and then what is it? Is it SSH? I can't remember. SSH. Um, is it SSH config or SSH config? SSHD config. SSHD config. Um, so let's open that up. And right here at the top, you can kind of see this, but there is where you can set a port. You can just uncomment this out, change the port to whatever you want it to. But I'm not gonna change it because I'm gonna have to disconnect. Well, I don't know if it's gonna kill. Well, when I restore it, it's gonna kill my connection. When I restore the service, it's gonna kill my connection. But yeah, typically you can set your own port, whatever you want. Um, I haven't done it in a while because it really don't matter. Because they're still gonna find it, and what you're trying to do is really give the people that are trying to hack your server as hard enough time as possible to try to get into the system. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the whole purpose that people change the port. You know what I'm saying? It's just okay, but all they got to do is do a port scan. They're gonna see that port 2222 is open. So hey, that must be his port, his SSH port. Or that's why if you use a random one, it's a little bit better because they don't possibly know what it is. They will have to look at the traffic to try to see what it is, and if they could tell that it's encrypted traffic that you would typically see from a SSH server, then that may give them a clue of what brute forcer to use on that port. But they may not be right, when it comes to it. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, but once they find out what the port is, they just gonna run that same, script to try to brute force the server, thinking that's the SSH port or whatever. So that's really why people change the port. But yeah, all you gotta do is go in here and change the port to whatever you want. And then I showed this in my my video showing people how to set up SSH keys. You can make some changes on here on authentication as well. You could permit, you could turn that off, permit root login. You could turn that off. Max retries, authentication retries. That'll help. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing as what fail to ban does. It's just fail to ban. What it does is it'll capture the IP address and use that IP address to block it within the firewall on IP tables. So essentially, it'll see a bunch of random, try to authentications, and it looks at the logs for authentications on the system itself under var log. It'll look at authentications because that's where those authentications are stored every time someone tries to connect to the server SSH. It also records the IP address in there. Well, fail to ban, what it does is it monitors that log file, and if it sees that IP address pop up a bunch of times, depending on how you had a jail set up, it'll grab that IP address, block it within the firewall, and it'll keep it there up until the time that you have set for the jail. So if you got it set for, I don't know, a couple hours or so, 3 hours, 90 minutes or something, they can't use that IP address. And really all it is to annoy the people that are trying to brute force your system, to get them to the point where they'll just stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, they'll give up. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you put, because on some of mine, I block IP addresses for like a month or something. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of slows it down. They still, and really, all they got to do is get on another VPN or get another IP address, and then they can start the process over. But it's eventually, I mean, it's to the point where you just want them to stop. Just try to get them to stop. you know what I'm saying, or give up on trying to get into this server and move on to another server that may be easier to get into. Why you want to do it. Hey, Pearson Center Cyber, shout out to you. Good to see you. It's been a while. I haven't seen you in a while. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. Definitely go check out Pearson Center Cyber. She's over there doing great work as well. I definitely support what she's doing. Shout out to you. Um, Let me see. Professor Blackout, cybersecurity for the people, agrees 100% on Telnet. Telnet and FTP are discouraged. SSH and SFTP is best practice. Yes, that's true. 100%. You want to use those secure connections. That's because your connection is encrypted. You know what I'm saying? So people can't just grab it in clear text. People can't just grab what you're trying to send or receive from whatever server that you're trying to get over the net. Um, Now, Tay, I don't know if there's a vulnerability for fail to ban. I haven't heard about it. I'm gonna have to look into it if it is something out there for it, like a vulnerability. I don't know. Um, all right, let me go and close this. Yeah, I'm not gonna save that configuration, but yeah, that's essentially how you protect SSH or change those ports on SSH. Um, Let me see what else I was going to show you. I was just going to show you guys how to create accounts if you want to create another account. And let me do that because the installer, does it for you. But I've done videos showing people how to create accounts. So if you want to create an account, simply use the add user command. So let's clear so I can bring it up to the top. But add user, that's the command for you. And I might have to use sudo, or actually, let's log in as root. I want to see see if I can get into it as root, because oh no, it doesn't have a password. It's not activated. I forgot, it's not activated. Let's cancel that. Yeah, you can't get into that account. So let's type sudo add user. I forgot Ubuntu. One good thing about Ubuntu, they have the root account deactivated. So the only way you can create an account, or the only way you can log into it, is if you activate it using a password. So sudo add user, and then let's add Billy. So Billy, that's his user account. We're gonna go through the process of adding his account. Just give him a super strong password. Type it in twice. And I think it's gonna ask you for some information. So, and this is a good thing to do. If you're creating a whole bunch of accounts, you want to go through and put in the information for each one of these accounts. That way you can track it. But I'm not gonna put anything but room full name, room number, work phone number, home phone. Other. Is this information correct? I'm gonna just hit enter again, and that'll create that account. Now, in order for this person to have, like, let's say sudo access, say you want this person to have sudo access. So there's a command called user mod. So you go sudo user mod, and then there is some options. So -a and capital Greek G for group. So we're basically adding this user to a group that's already on the server. He already has an account. So we're going to add him to the sudo group. Very simple enough. That will give him sudo privileges. So Billy, let's add you to the sudo group. So user mod is that command, and boom, that's all you got to do. And now Billy is part of the sudo group. Now, one other thing I wanted to show you guys. Let me see. Let's log into Billy right fast, and then just make sure it works. So sudo, and then Billy. Let's log into his account. Check him out. Type in his password, because you need his password. Boom. So now we logged in as Billy. And now we can run our sudo command. So sudo apps update. And I'm going to just run the update command just so boom. But yeah, you don't want to use your root account. You want to use like a sudo account, or some people use the do as whatever. So you use that if you want to. But in case you need a little help with some of this stuff. So like we use the add user command. I always talk about the man pages in a lot of my videos. So add user. So this will give you some information on how to use add user. So add user, or groups to the system. So, and it goes through the options. So we got a whole bunch of little options in here that you could do. Boom. Not gonna go through it, but same thing with the user mod command. So user mod, type that in. Boom. They have a whole bunch of information about this command, but it basically modifies a user account. And as you can see, let's look at some of those options we put in there when we did it. We did -A. That means append. So we're basically appending a current user on the system. And then G is we're appending the group. If we go down here, so capital G is appending the group for that user. So that's just a way of understanding what you're actually doing instead of just typing a command out that you see online or something somebody teach you, or you're reading an article and it says, hey, let's run this command, or run this command to do X, Y, and Z, and it has a whole bunch of options in there. You don't want to just run that command. You want to look at what those options are doing. You know what I'm saying? Don't listen to me. You know what I'm saying? That'll help you learn. Look at what options I used, but research what those options actually do. You don't want to just run them. You know what I'm saying? So that's mainly what I wanted to say. But shout out to Game Over for the super chat. I definitely appreciate it. Before the billions in the building, what's up, bro? My man, how you doing, bro? Shout out to you. Game Over, shout out to you, bro. I definitely appreciate you. Uh, um, supporting the channel. Definitely appreciate it. David Washington, he says, I haven't seen any vulnerabilities with Filter Ban, and we are using it on any server that's connected to the internet. It rocks. Yes, same thing, man. Same thing with me. All my servers, I have Filter Ban on it, and then I have jails set up based on what those servers are set up for. Like for instance, I got a web server out there. I got jail set up on my for Apache. And then MySQL is on there as well, which I need to remove MySQL because I stored. Well, no, I got to keep it because I got other sites on there. But you know what I'm saying? MySQL is on there. It's a jail on there. I take the time and go through and set up all this stuff so to try to protect the server. You know, yeah. And I'm glad you're doing good. Before the billion, shout out to you. He says, Calico says I plan to bridge Linux with ETL solutions. Hey, that'll work. That'll work as well. I did some ETL stuff back in the day when I worked as a financial systems analyst. I basically managed a financial database, and I had to come up with an ETL process to move data from one from the SQL data warehouse to this financial database, and I had to create a solution, an ETL solution. And if you guys don't know what ETL means, if you listening to this, ETL stands for extract, transform, and load. So basically, what you're doing is extracting data from one solution, transforming it so it'll go into another solution, and then loading the loading process. So whatever that process is, like an import process or something, whatever that application is, sometimes it's different, depending on what you're using. If it's SQL to SQL, it should be simple. You know what I'm saying? You can just connect to that database and move data over back and forth depending on, what it is, how it's set up, how your network's set up. But if it's like a different application and you need that data moved over, it needs to sometimes be transformed into a different format to get it into that other data, other application, so to speak. Yeah, and that's true. Before the billions, yep. I remember interviewing you a while back. You talked about some of the data engineering work you do, or the SQL work that you do. Yeah, shout out to you, bro. Yeah. So I'm gonna end the video right here. I meant to do a little bit more, but that's essentially, once you get the firewall set up, you learn how to set up accounts. One other thing possibly is, it was something else I was looking at. Um, hmm. what else? It was something else I was thinking about. Oh, setting up SSH keys, but I did a video on that. Please check out that video. You know what I'm saying? Just set up the SSH keys. That's something you want to do. And then within that configuration file for SSH, you want to turn off password authentication within SSH. Yeah, that's those three things really is all you had to do to kind of secure your server. There is more, you know what I'm saying? But you definitely, those three things are the minimum that you want to do to secure your server. Firewall, you know, modify your SSH connection, understand how to use or create accounts and all that stuff, manage those accounts, you know what I'm saying, and make sure the root account is disabled, which Ubuntu's root account is um, disabled by default, but certain servers they may not be. You know what I'm saying? Like when you spin up a virtual machine in Google Cloud, it's gonna create a root account and it's gonna be activated, even if you select Ubuntu as the operating system that you want to install. It's gonna create a root account, and then you have to go in and create your accounts that you want to use with pseudo privileges. And then you want to go in and disable that root account. And there's processes on how to disable it. I'll show you guys. I'll do another video showing you guys how to do that, disabling the root account. Oh man, and shout out to my man Aqua Techie for the super chat. I definitely appreciate it. He says quality content as always. I definitely appreciate it, man. I do this to try to help as many people as I can, bro. I definitely appreciate it though. Calico says, gotta get me some Linux certs. Yeah. If you're interested in learning Linux or you want to add that to your resume, put that, you know, on your belt, you know, as or in your tube belt, you know, as something that you know and that can help you, you know, that'll help you get another job, you know what I'm saying? So definitely check out those Linux certifications that I laid out if you guys want to check them out. But man, shout out to everybody that came through. I definitely appreciate all you guys coming through. You know what I'm saying? It was a great, um it was a great time talking to you, you know what I'm saying, and having fun talking about, Linux, cuz you guys know I love Linux. That's what I talk about most of the time, I definitely appreciate it. And David Washington, shout out to you, bro, again as well. I appreciate um the support, man. Shout out to you. I ain't got no music like everybody else got, you know what I'm saying? They'll play some music, you know what I'm saying? I ain't got all that, man. But I definitely appreciate, you guys supporting me. That lets me know that I must be doing something right, you know what I'm saying, by going through and putting this information out. And KeepItTechie, my man, bro. Shout out to you, bro. Hey, KeepItTechie, I want to get you on again. And before the billions, I seen you, bro. He said I gotta interview you, bro. Yeah, just hit me up in email. You know what I'm saying? And I come over. But KeepItTechie, I want to get you on again so we could do another interview on my channel, and I can see what's going on with you with your course. I see you doing great things over there, man. And I gotta catch up with you, man. Oh, come on now, game over, bro. Appreciate it, man. Shout out to you guys. I'm gonna end the stream because I don't like when people. I don't know. I feel weird when people give me money like that, bro. I definitely appreciate it. But KeepItTechie, yeah, we gonna get together. And I definitely want to talk about what you got going on over there, now. um and shout out to you again, game over. I definitely appreciate it. And everybody that came through, I hope you guys got something out of it. And hit me up, you can hit me up on all my social media, Instagram. I know I'll be slow on the Instagram replies because it's kind of hard to keep up with everything, but I sit there and I try to go through everything. I take time out to go through everything like Discord and all that stuff. I'm trying to catch up on that too. KeepItTechie is my role model when it comes to all that stuff, man. I'm trying to follow in his footsteps. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I hit you up, KeepItTechie, definitely. Um, but yeah, hey, you guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful Saturday, and of course, keep it techie. And I always forget to find my outro. But shout out again, guys. Peace.